to a little bit about the difference between micro and macro doses, because I do believe what I've seen in my community as I've been more vocal about my experience, that a lot of women are like, sign me up for the micro. I'm not sure I'm ready for the macro. And I think they have different benefits.
Yeah. I have a unique perspective on this that like some of my mentors don't actually agree with me on. And when I say mentors, I have amazing teachers. And I always say that I've been like brought up in the shamanic way, like by beautiful medicine women who kind of take the more earth goddess, like earth-based approach. So that's where a lot of my context and learning comes from, is like the more ancient ways of doing things. But I think that in this society, in the modern, busy American Western mother, again, speaking for my community, has no context of ceremony or this medicine. So to jump into a large dose journey without any context, without understanding the navigation of the realms that you're going to, without having an understanding of what it feels like to have your consciousness expanded and go to a place that you never dreamt was possible, but then you also completely understand on some level that you don't understand how you understand, can be, and then to be faced with your deepest fears, to be faced with your trauma, to face it head on and to say goodbye to it, which is often the case, or hello to it, which is also often the case, can be incredibly destabilizing. And if you don't do that with good space holders who know how to help you navigate those landscapes, it can be detrimental to your mental health. Truly. Yeah. So I think that starting with microdosing, creating an intentional relationship, for me right now, it's with psilocybin mushrooms, create a relationship with these little beings of light, and then feel how they feel in your body. Notice what those changes look like. Notice the broadening of connection, because you will feel these things. You will feel the cliche psychedelic side effects of a large dose journey with macrodosing if you give yourself the opportunity to pay attention. But that
side effects like what?
Like feeling
what?
like connected to everything. Like feeling so much love, you want to just, your heart thinks it's gonna, you're like the Grinch, it just keeps growing every day. By creativity, oh my gosh, I know what it feels like to write like that. It's like your brain just opens up and you don't censor yourself. And so all your best thoughts come through about having focus, finally focus, and no more brain fog. And then feeling joy and playfulness and better sex, better orgasms. Like the list goes on and on. Yeah. That you can feel all that with an intentional microdosing practice. And then I encourage everyone, when you feel called, when you know it's right, not because it's trendy, not because your best friend just did it, not even because your therapist or some spiritual leader says you should do it. When you feel called, I think you should absolutely sit with the medicine in a large dose, because it is there. And in that space, there is no comparison. There's no comparison to a large dose journey and microdosing. But I think for women, it's incredibly important to create that relationship first.
I think that was the most well-said explanation of micro versus macro. So thank you. And
thank you.
No, I never looked at it as like, it's kind of like a warm-up so you can understand this tool that you're using when you go into a micro. And I would say the macro, what's interesting about that is like one of the best macro journeys I did, I had a psychedelic expert and a therapist guiding me through it. Both women, both just lovely, lovely experience, just holding space for me to just acknowledge what was holding me back. And we literally came up with a checklist after this journey. And then I took it to my every week therapist. And I was like, here's what showed up. I really want to work on these things. And I felt like it was this beautiful respect for what nature has provided us. So I think what you said is brilliant. It's like a gentle approach to going into this really powerful tool.
Yeah. And then in the meantime, you're also learning about this medicine, because I think the other thing is, and you know this better than anyone, how many millions, billions of pills have women taken over the years? They don't know anything about them.
No.
You have no idea what it is. You have no idea what it's doing to you, except what you're told. This is it. A is going to fix B, full stop. Yep. A is going to fix B, but also C, D, E, and F may happen, and you may feel like complete caca, but that's just the way it is. And aren't you lucky that B is fixed? Like, that's about the broadness of the conversation of all the pills we take. And I believe we have to learn it. The medicine wants you to know about it. It wants you to know about its magic, about its history, about its connection to our original peoples, of the way that it's brought communities together. And that takes time. You don't get it. You don't do that over, you do it by sitting with it. You do it by learning and talking with other people, and you do it by feeling it in your body. So it is, and you're so great because you believe in like working at it. And what you did after your large dose journey is you took it to therapy, and that's where, and you don't integrate Zoloft, right? Like you just,
no, right. That's actually really well said. No, because it just shuts you down.
Right.
It's like be happy and shut up, kind of is the way I look at that drug. Like be happy. And happiness is something you have to work at. It's a journey.
Totally. Yeah, exactly.
So, okay, talk to me. I think the elephant in the psychedelic room, in my opinion, now that we've sort of gotten past this idea that our brain is an egg fried on drugs. I always blame everything on Nancy Reagan. She ruined it for the whole world.
She did a number on a lot of us. She really did.
Yes,
yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
So, but it is still illegal, and it's been decriminalized in many counties and many states. I know here we have a worldwide audience. I know that in certain countries it's completely legal. In other countries it's completely banned. I know here in America that our government is saying that it will be legalized by, supposedly, the last I saw was by 2025 in a therapy setting, is what I had seen. So give us a little idea of what the laws are and how do we work with those or around those?
Yeah, so I live in Denver, Colorado. So in Colorado, it is decriminalized, which means that it's considered the lowest rung of law enforcement. And inside that, you can gift. It's a variety of psychedelics: psilocybin, peyote, some other psychedelics. You can gift it, you can gather it, and you can grow it, but you cannot sell it. And inside the psychedelic space, there's two camps, right? Some people think decriminalization first, and some people think legalization first. So decriminalization, the good parts about that is it lowers the temperature around criminalizing people working with psychedelics, and it gives the state, ideally the whole state, time to integrate how this feels in a society. Yeah. So it's kind of a nice slow burn. You say, okay, Colorado, we've decriminalized it. Let's sit back and see if we're all just going to lose our minds and become a giant Burning Man. And
well said.
And
well said.
And it takes it from a cultural standpoint too. That's a whole nother conversation about how we incarcerate people of color way more quickly than we incarcerate people who are white, and it levels that playing field. And then legalization obviously is more it would be federally regulated. And then there would be an opportunity for commerce to also exist, which is what the cannabis model eventually followed in the states that it's legalized. There's pluses and minuses to all of it. How do you work around it? Well, if you're in a decriminalized state, you can grow your own. It's really not that hard.
Easy.
And that's another beautiful thing I think about this medicine. It is incredibly democratic. It's easy to grow. It's beautiful to grow. You're more connected to it than ever. And that is how it should be. Like, truly, that's how it should be.
It's like a friend.
It's a friend. And, the beautiful thing about mushrooms in particular is it's also like magic mushrooms, psilocybin mushrooms are in every corner of the planet. They are not culturally like stuck to one place like peyote or iboga. Yeah. So it really is this global access.
Why would the mushroom do that? I just want to say.
Because they want us to take it, I think.
Yes,
and so
that's the way I see it. It's accessible to all.
Yeah, so it's accessible to all. So, check your states and there's like counties inside states like Michigan and Massachusetts right now. A lot of counties are decriminalizing, but the state isn't there yet. So you can gift it, you can gather it, you can grow it, which means you can grow it and you can give it to your friend. And then in terms of working around the law, I mean, I can't promote anyone breaking the law. And I also think it's a ridiculous law.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
And I'm also a little bit skeptical that when it actually does become legal, big pharma will try to get a hold of it and try to keep it under their arm. So, which I don't think it will be allowed to do, because you can grow it. You can totally grow it. So it's not like, ibuprofen. I can't just make ibuprofen out of nothing.
Yeah.
But if big pharma all of a sudden takes it under their arm, I can just take my power into my own hands and grow it for myself.
You can, and this is where education and really learning about these fungi or any plant medicine, because it doesn't just stop with mushrooms, but learning about them and learning about their properties empowers you to take matters into your own hands. And, so, a lot of the arguments of like legalizing it or having it be, in a pill form that is payable by insurance is it's more affordable to everyone. And I'm just sitting here going, you can just grow it. You can get a Tupperware tube, a tin, and just grow it. And so then it's really affordable. So I think even if big pharma takes it, I believe, and part of my mission is to educate before that and understand that it's not just about putting something into a pill. You can't synthesize energy, and you can't synthesize intention. And those things are a learned behavior and something that we as a culture, I think, are being asked to learn together. And my prayer is that those with eyes to see and ears to hear will understand that this is a holy sacrament, truly, and treat it as such. And if it becomes more accessible to people, and if facilitators or practitioners who have licenses in psychology, if they feel called to it, and please God, I hope that they work with the medicine, because right now what we're seeing, especially in Oregon, is a lot of therapists, psychotherapists are getting their facilitation licensure inside the Oregon so they can legally administer it and have never worked with it themselves.
Wow.
And again, my teachers are like, go ahead and try. The medicine will kick your ass so hard if you try to do that it's not going to work in the end. And, there's always going to be bad actors.